Hello!
Oh, I just took. You know when your tea is too hot to drink, when you've immediately boiled it up. That's exactly what I've done. I've burnt my tongue, and I'm going to talk for an hour. So that's great.
You've opened it up
Wow.
so nicely, this
Oh,
podcast there, mate.
oh my gosh.
I can see, and you always have the urge to touch the part that you burnt with your tongue
That's
as well.
literally what I've just done.
Yeah,
All right.
I can see you doing the old tongue wipe of the.
Does that help? Does that help you when you do it? Quick shot in breath. You get that cold air. Like that.
I know, but it's definitely impressive to watch. And to be honest, if anything is real material, it's that, mate.
It's that.
That is
That's exactly it.
Straight from the off, we are going to be putting a couple of chunks of this podcast on our Instagram, on our socials. We're going to get a bit more engaged, basically, community. We want to get out there. We want to talk to you. We want to do more. Have a bit of fun. Have a bit of this.
Speaking of which, we were out and about yesterday, weren't we?
We were out and about. We went to it's called Invasion in Colchester, which is a little town / city, just become a city in Essex, which is in England, in United Kingdom. If you're one of our fantastic international listeners, what did we get up to Invasion? What is Invasion?
It is a town-wide version of a Comic-Con, effectively. So there was cosplaying, there were comic book shops were open, there were offers, there were stalls, there were opportunities to meet people in cosplay, get professional cosplayers there as well. There was lots of fan fiction stuff as well. There were people you can talk to that were artists from Star Wars movies, for instance, and all that kind of stuff. And it was wonderful. And it literally took out the whole town, didn't it? It was literally the whole town was kind of involved in some way. It was great. It was the first one since COVID, and it's definitely got a lot bigger throughout the years as well. So I just want to give big props to Colchester Invasion on that.
It was great. Honestly, there was an actual Batmobile, which was absolutely incredible. Do you remember? Yeah, is it proper car, proper, like you could put it on the motorway, but
somehow I don't know how you could, because it was absolutely massive. But yeah.
Take up 2 lanes. You know, you're not parking at your local pub. But it is spot on Batmobile. But yes, we did film a little footage of ourselves. Recorded a couple of really short interviews. We actually met a fan, and that will be in there as well. So probably before this is actually out, that will be out. So we're probably retrospectively speaking about this additional bonus podcast. When we say a podcast, it's about 10 minutes of footage, like if that. It's a very teeny tiny bit of expert podding, but don't expect a big one. But we will do some bonus ones. So over the weeks, over the months, we're going to go to Comic-Con. There will definitely be, I imagine, proper feature length podcast for that, because we will be interviewing man.
So that's in October, isn't it? That's in about a month's time.
Yeah. So we got that coming up. If you know, that's another thing. If you know anywhere that me and Matt should be going, which is MCU themed, whatever it might be, let us know. Drop us a 100%. Message. We'll be there. Apart from the Guardians of the Galaxy Secret Cinema, which is just taking the piss with its price.
It is, but if you're listening and you're involved in that, and you can offer a couple of free tickets for some free publicity, I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just
spitballing.
If you're listening and can do that, that would be great.
And we can give you, we are absolutely whoring ourselves out there, aren't we, Matt?
Just fishing, just fishing.
We're fishing for those sponsors, mate. One day.
We'll see.
Dave's Motors in Chelmsford. Big shout out to Dave's Motors, who's sponsoring us today.
Greg's Concrete Service.
Tina's Blinds. Fantastic blinds.
By Barry's Bait. For fishing.
Coming at you faster than Iron Man. I can't. Incredible. Love
Anyway.
We digress.
Hello, welcome, dear listeners, dear 1 listener, 2 listener, 3 listener, how many listeners there are. Team, we are talking about Star Wars: A New Hope today.
It was our wild card from last week, so we put all your entries in, and then out pops something brand new, completely different to MCU, completely different fan base.
Oh my god,
Star Wars.
You talk about a completely different fan base like it is the biggest fan base out there. In terms of fan fiction, that is the biggest fan base, and here we are, two little nobodies from the edges of the earth of the podcast industry, and we're going to go ahead and try and deep dive into this.
But let's start with that. This is the first Star Wars film, right? Mm-hmm. Pre this film, unless I am wrong, this film, before it, no Star Wars universe, right?
No.
Little George Lucas. So it is fine for us not to necessarily, know all of that and come into this fresh, because we are the audience who would have seen it in the 1970s, I believe.
Is this wait? Are you saying you haven't seen it before?
No. I have, as in the lore around it.
The lore around it.
Everything else. So we're not that we're coming to it new. Sorry, but as in we don't know. We are not experts in this field.
No.
Disclaimer. Not experts, but because we're starting with the first
if you have listened to a few weeks, you've probably already gathered that by now. But if you are new, yes, that is it. We are not experts.
Yeah. In particular, the Thor, I believe Thor: Dark World, was it podcast that was fucking awful in terms of detail. Absolutely awful. We
couldn't even get an Infinity Stone right. Like it was that bad.
It was pretty brutal. But yes, here we are. Star Wars: A New Hope.
Before we start, it kind of feels like this is a bit of karma from my side, because I think it was the episode before when we were reviewing everything that I was saying that The Guardians is one of the best team-up movies of all time in terms of blockbuster movies, and here we go, Star Wars: A New Hope, which is effectively in the fan fiction world and in the big screen, this is kind of the first team up movie. When you learn about these new characters and they all come together, they've all got different ideals and gains about why they're all together, and some people are after the money, some people are after kind of the more honourable kind of journeys, hero journeys. Here we are talking about it. So I feel like I kind of gave us a bit of karma there, Forrest.
Very, very true. Very true. I think it's. I'm gonna hit it. We're gonna hit it overall. I don't think we can, bite size into this, because let's not pretend this podcast is anything other than just a joyride into a different alternative world.
Literally.
But generally. I would say it does an incredible job of keeping you captivated into a new world, right? I'm captivated. I think it's it feels slightly paced wrong. There's a couple of so for me it starts off quite like boom, we're straight in, right? We're here we go. R2D2, C3PO, straight in, right? Getting out of a sticky situation, blah blah blah. Then it gets very slow, where they are literally walking for miles, and it feels like it's a long walk for miles. Mm. Then we get like boom, whole big part of the film, 40 minutes at the end or 30 minutes at the end. So it's a 2-hour film, and I'd say first 15 minutes bang on, the next 40, 50 minutes, last
I think
40 minutes, incredible.
Absolutely. I think, and as well, I think if it was done today, say for instance, A New Hope was, filmed in this, day and age.
A New
Hope. It would have been absolutely directed very differently in terms of the way that it was paced. And I think in terms of, so for me personally, I think the pacing of the film is bang on perfect. I blooming love it. I think it's the fact that it goes in straight in, boom. You're in this universe. You're in space, and there's a fight. You're on the Death Destroyer, Death Destroyer, not Death Star, Super Destroyer, the big wing. It's not. The word's in front of me. It's literally in front of. It's already started. Here we go. I'm just going, that ship, that really big ship.
The one with the wings.
Star Destroyer. Yeah. Oh my God, Jesus.
Star Destroyer.
Fucking hell. Star Destroyer. Okay. Of which, you see that craning over the top, in the first initial shots. I think just the way you kind of go straight into it is brilliant. But I think if it was done today, they'd draw that out immediately. It would be kind of introductions of, we might go to... Luke Skywalker's story first. Okay, we might be going there. I think it's really difficult to kind of lightly touch over the film as a whole. But we'll try. Obviously, if we deep dived into this will be 3 hours long. This podcast. Yeah. But for me, it was great. I love it. I've watched it so many times, and I still just enjoy watching it. Yeah.
It's definitely. Yeah, I see what you mean about pacing. I think what I really like about this film, and MCU really struggles with this, right, is that quite clear that this is not a one-off film, right?
Oh yeah.
From the off, there was far too much going on, far too much to look into. And Darth Vader's only just is in it throughout, but quite obviously his big time is yet to come. So and with that, I thought this film did a very good job of repeating terminology often, right? So we hear about the Jedi's, we hear about the Force. And then the Rebel Alliance, we hear all of these terms, and then the dark side, and then we get the alternative side to that. And I feel like all of these words are dropped in so often throughout the film, not in a way that you would notice and go across the line. He's mentioned, being a Jedi or having the Force far too often, but just enough that if you were literally picking this up, you would want to explore a bit more about it, or you do feel like you're a part of that journey. Whereas I feel sometimes with the MCU there's a lot of expectation there, and I think the difference is if MCU as we know it today was pre the comics, it wouldn't have this issue. Because it wouldn't strongly rely on people having already known the comics to then go and watch the films. Whereas Star Wars
material and stuff, yeah,
exactly. Star Wars didn't have that, so they had to provide as much information. And I feel like sometimes MCU could learn a lesson or two that actually your films do have a broad appeal. And when you're doing the sciencey bit with Tony Stark and Bruce Banner doing the sciencey bits, let's not just jump over that because we're going to leave that nugget in for the comic book readers. That's fine to leave a couple bits, but actually there's some really good material there that you could leave to digest for broader audiences.
Now, dear listeners, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think out there when George Lucas brought this film forward to the producers, for those that were going to fund the movie, it was initially turned down. you know, the scope of the idea, the scope of what was required and how much it was going to cost. Like the whole project in its own right was quite a frightening task for any funders out there. And like the original title, I think was apparently really, really long. I think it was instead of Skywalker, I think it was Star Killer. I think it was like Luke Starkiller and Anakin Starkiller, and it was like the adventures of Luke Starkiller and Blub Star and blah, 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 and it was just really, really long, and apparently I had to shorten that down. So like just to think, like all of this has come from his mind. You know, it's like if Stan Lee went, I'm going to do the movie, I'm going to direct the movie. And this is as well, like George Lucas started his own visual effects company for this project, right? You know, so even in that, right, you know, he had to make sure that it was true to the vision that he sought out in every single way, from the special effects to the practical effects as well. And that's one thing that I want to say as well, is that I remember watching this as a kid and thinking how genuinely amazing it was to know that some of those effects were practical, they were real. You know, some of the creatures, some of the even the fact that seeing the stormtrooper as well, like that's a person in an outfit. The visual of Darth Vader, like that visual of Darth Vader is iconic, and it will be iconic forever, without doubt. And like when my daughters see Darth Vader's face, their reaction to Darth Vader is the same as to how I reacted to Darth Vader as a young boy, you know. So it's amazing to know that legacy still lives on with those characters that were created in the 70s. That's mad. Absolutely mad.
Like the special effects and, you know, everything about it is like feels so fine tuned. And so George Lucas and his approach to it, you can a lot of people will say, you know, nowhere near the same amount of quality, and to an extent I would agree. But you've also got the likes of James Cameron and Avatar. Quite similar in that sense. That was an idea of his. He directs it. Is that like that Little Britain sketch of he writes the theme tune, sings the theme tune. He does it. They are auteurs in their own right. But yes, it really good, and the acting is great. There's some parts.
I was gonna say,
so great.
If there was one gripe from me, it's just some performances that are just a bit off. And this might be quite this probably is controversial, but Alec Guinness, who is the original Obi-Wan, I never really enjoyed his performance as Obi-Wan. I don't, and this is the thing. I just think it's just because of the. You can see he's a true professional. You can see that he's an absolute theatrical legend, and he's a thespian through and through. And I just don't find anything charming about his character, or anything that's not funny, but like just something that kind of endearing. There's nothing endearing about his character. But he plays up to the wiseness. There's this kind of like Gandalf, esque kind of feeling to it. But there was enough charisma maybe for Obi-Wan. Does there need to be? I don't know. But I've never really kind of warmed to him as an Obi-Wan. I do prefer Ewan McGregor. Is that controversial?
I see. Weirdly, I was about to call him out for being one of the finest performances.
Oh, that's interesting.
But because you can quite clearly tell he's got the drama in it, mate, and I like that. I feel like that works for me. I mean, Harrison Ford is amazing, like straight from the off, like incredible performance. Just mad that's Harrison Ford younger, mate.
It's amazing.
It's like night and day. Like, he doesn't look completely different to what you can tell that Harrison is Harrison now, but
yeah,
Christ alive, he looked different when he was younger, mate.
Yeah,
that is a big change.
I think as well, like even performances with like C-3PO and R2-D2, and like again going back to the practical effects, like if that was done today, I think that would have just been CGI.
Oh, 100%.
Stripping away, everything in terms of what Star Wars did for practical effects. If that didn't exist now, that would just be CGI, wouldn't it? But those are great performances as well. Lovely, just R2-D2 and C-3PO. It's just brilliant.
It's cheaper, isn't it? Ironically, CGI's will work out cheaper than most of the stuff they would have done in this film. That's why we don't get beautiful, proper cartoons anymore. That are, delicate drawings.
I thought Leia's performance, if we were to compare Luke and Leia, I think Leia has far more, I think, to play with as a character against what Luke has. Because in the first movie, let's say, because there's not enough has been uncovered with Luke in his journey yet in this first film. It's all just about kind of like joining the Force, being Obi-Wan's Padawan, learning about the Force, and that's that. And then all of a sudden, then more comes out in his character as he gets into kind of Empire Strikes Back, and that is actually Empire Strikes Back. Strikes Back. It's got to be one of my top Star Wars movies, if not the top one. But that's because of that reason, because you get loads more of kind of Luke's story. But I think in this movie, Carrie Fisher is Queen in this movie. Which is great.
Yeah. I feel, yes, I would agree. I would agree. I feel that I like Luke Skywalker in this, but that's because I'm thinking like from now, I'm not, and everything we've seen of Luke Skywalker. Now it's like really impressive to see him actually, without all of that. And this is just, childhood Luke Skywalker getting through and doing what he does without knowing all of his backstory.
What is or who is your favourite side character? Let's talk about side characters, cameos.
Favorite side character, definitely. I don't think now I'm older, C-3PO and R2-D2, right? I remember when I was a kid, I absolutely loved those characters, right? Absolutely, C-3PO, I absolutely loved him, right? Now, I think watching it back, I feel like those two characters are the characters that have aged the worst for me. And really? I don't know what it is. I don't find them as exciting anymore. I think that whereas I know when I first watched it as a kid, you're so excited and find really fun. But now I don't know. I'm a bit I'm not really out of all of the different characters and fun people we see in Star Wars, they're the least exciting for me to be, and there's such a focus of them in this film, I suppose.
You got to remember as well that the target audience of this movie when it first came out, it hit a wide spectrum, of young adults, but also kids as well. So I obviously wasn't there in 1972. I think when it came out.
Really?
Yeah. You sod. that really, I could just unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
But I get a sense that it was kind of aimed for a family viewing. Beware of Darth Vader, and and creates that kind of thing. Or it could have been, I don't know, actually, I would have been, I'm going to ask somebody that was there. I know both of my sets of my in-laws and my parents have seen it. I think, where it first came out. So I'm going to ask them that because I'm genuinely quite interested, actually. Anyway, go on.
No, you go.
My favourite side character. Now, I've got to say, what's it? His name is Tarkin. General Moff Tarkin, or Governor Moff Tarkin at the time, who's played by Peter Cushing. Now, I think this kind of stoic, kind of imperial, officer that he plays in this movie is really underrated and understated, I think. But what's nice is that there's still love for Peter Cushing, because what happens is that he is actually in recent editions of Star Wars. I think they've CGI'd him in complete form and used bits of his voice to be in certain scenes. I think might be Obi-Wan, maybe even in Mandalorian as well. There's moments of his kind of cameos as the character in CGI. This man died in 1994, right? And he's still acting today. Think about that.
Yeah, that is
that is mind blowing. That's kind of scary in a way. Like they did that with when they CGI'd Luke. Mark Hamill in The Mandalorian when he's made his first entrance, and then it came into what was it was Mandalorian. Oh, is it Boba Fett? It might be in the Boba Fett series that you see more of Luke Skywalker, and they literally use clips of his voice from the previous movies, and there's like this data, this kind of algorithm that kind of takes the frequencies of his voice, and then that comes out in. So they put that to the script, and then there's these new kind of lines that are being delivered by a Mark Hamill that were recorded and was filmed in those, with those lines and those words back in the 70s and stuff.
But they did it with Carrie Fisher as well when she
they did.
Away.
That's right. Yeah,
because her last appearance in a Star Wars film is cut bits from previous films, but. It's amazing. That is crazy how they do.
I think it goes to show as well, because we go back to A New Hope. Like that film in its own right was cutting edge technology. It redefined cinema, and it gave cinema maybe a new lease of life in terms of what cinema can do for an audience in watching something, and experiencing something as well. Wait, we haven't gone through the synopsis. I'm actually genuinely intrigued to hear what the synopsis is for this movie.
I know. I'm just gonna before we do. So you were talking about Grand Moff Tarkin, weren't you? Because we were talking about Peter. So the only thing I would say about his character is that what I didn't enjoy watching back is that I feel like he almost does too good a job. In the sense that he then, in a couple of scenes, he then makes Darth Vader look secondary. So
but that's what I love about the film as well, is that Darth Vader isn't the main bad guy. You know that he answers to somebody else.
But if we go back to MCU, this is what we said about. Or this is the same issue I had with Thanos and what's his face? Oh,
Ronin. No.
Yes. Ronin. Was exactly the same issue. Yeah. Was because if Darth Vader is the ongoing threat throughout, right, the films, and evidently becomes star villain, that has to be established from the start. And everyone that works for him has to slightly be worried about him. Whereas the scene, and it worked for I think actually it was one scene in particular, right? So, it was the scene where they blow up Leia's home planet, right? And they get her to, they get her to spill the beans. And literally, Darth Vader stood there, but he doesn't say a word. And I'm literally like, what the fuck? And I didn't really get that. I was like, if your superior is stood right in front of you, surely you're not going to be the one who determines like whether you're going to crush her home planet even after she's like told the truth, and it just felt a bit jarring to me. I was a bit like, well, like you're literally like the bee's knees is stood there, mate. Like what you playing at? That was a bit weird for me. A bit weird.
Maybe that's something probably because I've experienced it so much in MCU and other movies out there as well. That kind of knowing that yes, that's the big bad villain, but there's another big bad villain that's bigger than that villain, and it all kind of goes to that, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, to the point it gets a little bit ridiculous. But yeah, no, I like that. I like the moment that Darth Vader. I think there's a moment in the film where Darth Vader is about to kill. I think it might be the scene where he talks about, I find your lack of faith is disturbing. And he's like,
yes,
can you not do that? And he's like, oh okay, no, right.
Yeah. Yes, that was the other way. Yeah, they're all in a little board meeting, aren't they?
Yeah, you're like,
but my favourite secondary has got to be Chewbacca. It's always got to be Chewie, mate.
Oh yeah. Oh, well done.
Cheers.
Do yours again? That was really good, man. Oh. Nailed that. You absolutely nailed that. I'm so impressed.
The chew off, if you will.
The chew off.
Chew off.
I can't do it. I roll my tongue in the front. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's very
gutty. I can't.
I mean,
I just know it's not. I don't even know what you're doing with your mouth there.
I mean, if any moment is going straight on Instagram,
that's the clip.
You are definitely editing that clip. But yes, yeah. Let's do the synopsis.
So I've just got a WhatsApp that's saying Rachel just gone, why are you making such weird fucking noises? You sound like an angry camel. There you go.
Well, yes, because she can't hear me, can she? Because you got earphones in. So you're just doing... So me and you are just literally sat at home going at a screen, hoping that no one thinks we're mental enough for an institution.
Oh, there we go.
Oh. Madness. Right. Summary, here we go.
Summary, yes, let's go.
The Imperial forces, under orders from cruel Darth Vader, hold Princess Leia hostage in their efforts to quell the rebellion against the galactic empire. Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, captain of the Millennium Falcon, work together with the incompanionable droid duo R2-D2 and C-3PO to rescue the beautiful princess, help the Rebel Alliance, and restore freedom and justice to the galaxy.
Braveheart, right?
Yeah, I thought if anything deserved a Braveheart, it was a Star Wars sci-fi.
That's a good synopsis.
It is a.
That's got to be one of the top ones there.
That litters all the words in there as well.
Yeah,
like the Empire.
It's dramatic. It's theatrical.
Leia.
It's
yeah.
It's got all the makings there. Do you have favourite scenes? Let's go. Should we just talk about our favourite scenes and go straight into that? Because I think obviously there's loads of good moments in this movie, but I'm going to highlight maybe just a few from my point of view. I don't really have any gripes in terms of I don't know what you mate, but I don't really have any gripes in terms of scenes, certain bits that just. I thought the whole story is threaded really well. So I'm probably from this point. Sorry for any listeners that are not interested in me just raving about a movie, but I can't really make any bad argument. I don't know. Maybe I can. Maybe we'll see. We'll see if there's something that pops in. We never know.
Yeah. Best, but yeah, quality scenes. I would go for. I love the I love the first. They've just entered Darth Vader's realm. Better word. Mm-hmm. The actual spaceship thing.
The Death Star.
The Death Star.
That's the Death Star.
The Death Star. So they enter the Death Star, come off the Falcon, and basically you've got, I think it's Han Solo in dressed as a stormtrooper, and he this guy on the radio, one of the oh my god, what is the oh my god, alive words, mate. The Imperial Force.
Yeah.
Right. So one of the Imperial Force people. Oh my god, words. The guy in in the Death Star. The bad people in the Death Star. Right.
The Imperials. Yeah.
The Imperials.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's one Imperial. And he literally he's on the radio. He's trying to get a connection to Stormtrooper, and then he looks out the window. And then he sees Han Solo, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a little Han Solo's it does a little hand signal, which is just brilliant. And then it's weird because then the Imperial goes, right, okay, I need to check his radio because it's obviously not working, right? He can't radio me. He opens the door. Suddenly, all of them are there, right? The door leads to a corridor.
Yeah,
right. They're about 2 stories down. And I'm like, so in the space of this guy seeing Han in a window, we're expected to believe Chewbacca and friends darted out of the ship, ran across a corridor, ran 2 flights, probably 2 or plus flights, and then it suddenly just appeared at the door. Magic, amazing. That's stagecraft.
That is stagecraft.
That is. Love that. Obviously, one of the finest scenes can only be this is they are not the drones you're looking for.
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
Got to be signature scene, signature meme. Yeah, quality. What about
amazing. Well, my first favourite scene has got to be the first appearance of Han Solo. So we're in the lovely kind of jazz club of Katina, I think is the place is. And Luke is there. That's where we meet our rogues. Our rogues out there, our freelancers, let's say, our hitmen.
Hey, here we go.
Han Solo and Chewie, and this is really silly. This is really silly, yet simple. But the reason why I love this scene so well is I talk about the most ridiculous things. Okay. I like this scene simply because on how Chewie looks in this scene in a close-up. In the establishing shot, okay, so you get this kind of, I think there's a pan up on the band. They've got certain names I can't remember for now, but they're playing that wonderful flute-esque jazz number, and then it.
I think we're allowed to have a little bit of copyright there.
There you go.
If we make it sound like it, but not do it.
That's why I added the rat-a-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta.
It's the club mix. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I'm going to clip into the weirdest sounds that we've made in this first hour. That scene, you just look at, just spend, honestly, go back and watch it, mate. Seriously, just watch Chewie and watch how Chewie is listening and emoting, and you can see the actor's eyes blink and stuff, and just the way that he's animating himself. I'm obsessed by it. And just the way he looks, and again, it's the whole practical effect thing. That's a Wookiee. That's a full, a 6'6" man inside this Wookiee outfit. If you watch that for the first time, you think, what the heck is that? Heck is that?
I think since we started this podcast and you've watched a lot of films, I don't know what the word is. I was going to say appreciate. I do appreciate, but I don't know if that's the right word. Your attention to detail when it comes to the look of a very specific part of so like we got Thor's eyebrows. There was a whole segment about Thor's eyebrows. We've had obviously Chewie. I'm sure there was something else that you were going into quite great depth about.
Was it? It was Black Widow's hair at some point.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I know. I've got.
Very.
What about my aesthetics?
He loves an aesthetic.
Yeah, but it is cool. But like that aside, it's a really cool introduction to the cool guy that is Han Solo. He's like, you got Obi-Wan and Luke here that's trying to put up a proposition for Han Solo. It's like, listen, I'm the guy in charge here. I'm the guy that holds all the cards. If you want me, this is what's going to happen. It's cool. It's like a mafia meets fan fiction moment, and I'm all for it.
All right. So, sorry, just go. So we're talking about like looks and Chewbacca, and within not Chewbacca, not Chewie, but there's puppets in this film, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, have you ever seen? And this is the greatest film for puppetry I've ever seen. Have you seen David Bowie in a little film called Labyrinth?
Confession, I haven't seen it.
Oh,
genuinely, it's one of those iconic movies that has eluded me my whole life.
God.
I know.
Right,
I know.
That is, we are definitely doing Labyrinth for some. That is the most hidden gem of a film that quite possibly is my favourite ever film is Labyrinth, right? The David Bowie version, not Pan's Labyrinth, alright? Never even seen Pan's Labyrinth. It's good. It's
What's the difference?
What's the difference?
I might like this. I know I've obviously heard of it, know of it, but like just don't know what the.
So Labyrinth is Jim Henson, right? So it's
Right.
the puppetry standard is already high. It's Jim Henson.
Mm-hmm.
But oh my god, the film is nuts, but it's the most like playful. It's exciting, and if anything should have a musical or a show, it's Labyrinth. I don't think it's ever been made into a musical or a show, but that is something to bear in mind.
Fair enough, mate. All right,
I've gone down a complete rabbit hole.
Edit. Put that into the list. I'll put it into the roulette later. We're talking about favourite scenes. Do you have another favourite scene? A second favourite scene? Because I'll talk about my second favourite scene.
A second favourite scene? Oh my god, scenes.
What I'm thinking is that if we do, or do we move on to talk about the connections between Star Wars and MCU?
Let's do that.
And then do roulette stuff.
You tell me about connections, mate.
Okay, cool. So, speaking of kind of, you've already mentioned it earlier, Forrest, like in you can see that there's threads through from Marvel to Star Wars. There are actually quite some deliberate links to Star Wars and the MCU. Now, it's no secret that Kevin Feige isn't a fan of is a fan of Star Wars. He's a massive fanatic on Star Wars, and he's taken a huge inspiration kind of on the MCU front on how those stories have been told in the Star Wars saga, against kind of using those influences and telling the stories as well. So things like you say, mate, like in terms of like the Thanos and the Ronin thing against Darth Vader and the Emperor and all that kind of stuff. You've got those kind of threads through there. There's some deliberate ones in now. It's obviously this isn't in A New Hope, but in Empire Strikes Back, Luke loses a hand What a shame. And that's obviously an iconic cinematic moment. They do that a lot in the MCU. There are multiple times in movies where our heroes in the MCU have lost their hand. And some of them have already covered, actually, I think, in terms of which movies that happen in. I think Iron Man 3.
Yep.
You've got Killian gets his arm cut off by Tony Stark. Yep. You've got Thor in the Dark World. Loki cuts off Thor's hand, doesn't he?
Yes, he does, yeah.
Yeah, so we've covered both of those. Captain America the Winter Soldier, while it doesn't happen on screen, Bucky's arm is revealed to be missing, isn't it? And changed into that mechanical arm. And as well, in Guardians, the first Guardians, which we've also covered, is Gamora cuts off both Groot's arms. And as well, and this is the thing, it's all in phase 2, my friend. You've got Avengers Age of Ultron. Apparently it's claimed to be an incident, but like Ultron does end up chopping up a chunk of Ulysses' arm, as in Andy Serkis.
Yep.
Also, this is mad. I don't know if it's just a phase 2 thing, but also in Ant-Man, Scott Lang's final attack with Yellow Jacket begins with Yellow Jacket's arm becoming a subatomic. So when he goes subatomic, the first thing is Yellow Jacket's arm that goes.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that mental? Like all of that, and as well, that's just in phase 2 as well. So
phase 2, and when did that happen? That happens in Star Wars in the second film, right?
In the second film,
phase 2, second film.
Yeah,
Star Wars. So my question to you, Matt, would be to go and have a look. Does phase 1 have an ongoing thread from the first Star Wars film? Maybe Kevin has put the same thing, in each phase. He's done a signature move.
Oh my god! Wow.
So I couldn't tell you what it would be.
I couldn't tell you either. From what I can see, there isn't. There's an article that says all of Marvel's Phase 2 films share the same weird Star Wars reference, which is the arm thing.
Amazing.
So I can't see anything in Phase 1 that is related. But, dear listeners, if you do know some more kind of Star Wars MCU links, please do tell us. I'm genuinely quite interested. Obviously, that's one thing. There's, they've used certain plots of storylines. They've used quite clear kind of, influence of space in terms of fan fiction, team up movies. Or there's obvious and clear kind of like nods. The other thing is that Rachel would kill me if I didn't say this. Is what's worth mentioning is the absolute injustice that Sebastian Stan hasn't played Luke Skywalker yet. They are identical. In terms of a young Mark Hamill against Sebastian Stan, they are like doppelgangers in my view.
I remember Rachel said this a few podcasts ago, and I was a little bit like, "What are you on about?" Still a little bit like, "What are you on about?"
No, there must be. Let's just go Sebastian. There must be a Sebastian Stan, Luke Skywalker, like picture, image, something, anything. Look. Yeah, exactly. Right. So there was a whole thing about it when Luke Skywalker came back as that deep fake, and they were like, just use Sebastian Stan, man. I'm going to link this to you for us, just so you can see it yourself. But if anybody else is interested, just go and just Google Sebastian Stan, Luke Skywalker, and then you'll find loads of kind of theories there. But like, just look at that, mate.
Where have you sent it?
Oh, on the Zoom chat.
Oh, yeah. Right, I'm having a look. Oh, okay, fine. Do you
know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see that, right?
No, I do. Now it's laid in front of me that, very much Sebastian Stan's got a definitely got Mark Hamill early Luke Skywalker days. That's pretty mad, that, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's pretty ridiculous. I have to wholeheartedly agree there with Rage. But yeah, no, obviously, if you've got any more kind of theories and ideas of what kind of links there are between MCU and Star Wars, do let us know on don'tbeherepodcast@gmail.com.
I am going to... so earlier today, I put up an Instagram asking for people to get involved with our Star Wars episode, send in some comments. Would you like to know some comments that we received?
I bloody would. Yes, I would. Yes.
So Bear One Squink, aka our good friend Pete, who you might have heard in our previous Invasion Colchester podcast, who's most definitely not my cousin. He has commented, and I've just absolutely jumped a mile in real life.
That was absolutely hilarious.
It's just emerged out of nowhere.
Shat yourself. You absolutely shat yourself there.
Absolutely did shit myself, yeah. That happened. You alright, Soph? Yeah? Good. Fab. She feels happy with herself. Right. So, my definite, not my cousin, has commented. He says, I saw episodes 4, 5 and 6 back to back in the cinema. That is amazing. Back to back in the cinema with all my schoolmates, and some guy came across from the smoking section and told us to shut the fuck up. I mean, we were the original fanboys. What did he expect? Wow, that is... I mean, if that's not dated my cousin, smoking section of cinema.
Section, yeah.
Wow, what we were. Although, I mean, even I remember going into restaurants with smoking sections.
Yeah.
You think back that was allowed.
Mm-hmm.
You could have a part of a restaurant where people smoked.
Yeah.
Absolutely great.
Mad.
But yeah, so episodes 4, 5 and 6 does shut the fuck up. Original fanboys. I love that.
That's the other thing as well. They started with, Star Wars 4, episode 4. That was like the fact that it was like, again, going back to the fact that George Lucas had to pitch this to people first. When, we'll start with the 4th film. Sorry,
but no. The thing is, though, Matt, it was originally called Star Wars. It's only after the trilogies did they
was
go
it
back
named?
and rename.
Oh, is that the case?
So when this film first came out, it was just called Star Wars. That was it. Just the name Star Wars.
Wow. Okay.
So episode 4 came around much later on. So yeah, because I mean that would have been well brave of George.
I was going to say like
episode 4.
We will start with the 4th one. What?
Yeah. What is going on? So yes, I do know that for a fact. We've got Hitchcock _Tom. He has commented. Big shout out to Tom. He says the original trilogy can't be beaten. Believable characters which are relatable due to being EastEnders in space with lightsabers. He says prequels ruined it by making Jedis fly about like ninjas on cocaine and that twat Jar Jar Binks. Less said about Hayden Christensen's acting, the better, since strong performances in primary school production. The final 3 way too Disney-fied, and again ruined by lack of imagination. Didn't take them anywhere new. The Rise of Skywalker with The New Hope, whilst The Force Awakening strikes back against the Return of the Last Jedi. I do agree with that.
Absolutely.
The brand new films were just do remakes, and if you don't do remakes, don't do it.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, technically, we should be the generation of the prequels, right? Yeah. And Jar Jar Binks and stuff. And I also remember watching them and going, obviously there was so much hate for it, but they were just bad. They were bad, without doubt. And so I completely agree there. Like the original trilogy is just groundbreaking on every level. Each film. It's on that same level for me as the Back to the Future trilogy. Like, it is just, there's something about it that just defines cinema. Yeah. And you cannot remake that. No. Like, no. I'm of the view that you cannot remake Back to the Future as much as they are probably trying to, and they'll probably try to. And if they do, I'm just not going to watch it because it cannot be redone. Those moments are special and they cannot be recreated. Yeah.
No, 100% agree. We got Rachel, your very own Rachel, has commented.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
3 times. First time, she's put, "That's a lovely door," referring to the door in the background of the video. Lovely. Lovely. Second one is, "Luke Skywalker was my first crush. Leia was the original badass. I still strive to be."
Yeah. So true, though. So true. She was the original kind of like, I don't know. There was loads of like TV shows of like Wonder Woman, I think, on TV at the time. But like, she is the first kind of like, female superhero on that kind of big screen, as far as I'm aware.
Her accent gripes me in this film.
More so than Obi-Wan.
Yeah, because
Luke Skywalker. Like
But he's supposed to be like, God, he's trained other Jedis. He's got, I've got the Force. I know everything. Yeah. So he can get away with the Ian McKellen, lovely. Do you know what I mean?
I've got the Force.
Whereas Princess Leia, and I know people go, "Don't be an idiot. She's a princess. Of course she's gonna have someone." But they completely change away from that. Leia doesn't have this accent in the newer films by a long shot. So I'm just like, well, and it's just, I don't know.
Maybe that's why Elizabeth Olsen decided to do that in Ultron, and then everything. Yeah. She just took influence from Carrie Fisher, or Kevin Feige was like, well, if Carrie Fisher can do it, you can do it too, Elizabeth Olsen.
Mate, imagine if he's just come across there. Imagine if he's consciously gone, right, we're going to pull a Leia.
Yeah, use your accent. Maybe that's a thing. Pull a Leia.
Rachel's also said, and this confused me. She's gone, also, it's Harry Potter, or Harry Potter is Star Wars.
We might need her to elaborate on that at some point.
I think she might be referring to the plot.
Or maybe she's suggesting another movie. Maybe she's suggesting a Harry Potter movie.
But
I don't know.
Fuck knows. Thanks for your input, everyone, including Rich at the end. But yes, no, that's great. There's some really great thoughts there. But yes, it was good to go to Star Wars. I'm glad we did it. Mm-hmm. I'm equally glad it's done.
I'm glad we touched on it. We obviously, I don't think we can claim this is any remote deep dive at all into Star Wars. No. We spoke about it. We spoke about what we liked, moments where we really didn't like, certain things that we're excited about. We've threaded it through to MCU. I feel like we've done the job, but I think we've done it on a light basis where we are potentially not going to get scrutinised or any kind of hardcore Star Wars fans coming at us with any kind of like false kind of claims that we've made potentially. That's what I'm hoping we've protected ourselves from. All right. Okay, great.
And if anyone thought it was poor, I'm going to finish off by doing, what I think is a solid 7 out of 10 Chewie impression again.
I mean, that was...
Oh my God, that went well. I was about to take off with that one.
It's like you're trying to sing.
There you go. That's it. That felt Chewie. Chewie's back. He's back.
Nailed it. I think this for it being the first wild card, it made me extremely nervous because I was like, "Oh my God, we're gonna have to deep dive about this." But I think that's the perfect kind of tidbit to talk about it because obviously this is the thing, team. Like we are here to talk about the MCU primarily, to get through phase 2, get through phase 1, 2, 3, 4 plus. But this is our option and opportunity just to go a little bit off the tracks a little bit and just have a little bit of fun.
So, who would be, as we don't be a hero, who would be our hero from this film? Because is the hero actually Han Solo? Because if it wasn't for Han, they wouldn't be getting on no Death Star.
I'm going to say the hero in this movie has got to be the mechanical people, the construction workers of the Death Star that managed to create this very tiny little hole that is the weak point, the one weak point of this massive fortress that is the Death Star. And they've gone, you know what? We'll just leave this kind of unprotected, so if somebody can shoot through it, it'll just blow up immediately. It will literally implode in itself.
And also, we'll make the hole and two simple shots, like not specific missiles or don't need anything special. No. Just a couple of shots from a spacecraft, a tiny craft.
5 by 5 meters, 5 by 5.
Chuck them in, boom, and it's going to split in half. Yeah, it's going to go.
The biggest of explosions that you've probably ever seen, ever. I want. Do you know what I want? I want a Disney Plus series of those guys creating the Death Star. We see a workplace comedy starring John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell, and let's name somebody else. I don't know, Paul Rudd. Okay, and they come in and they're just talking about creating the Death Star, and they go, you know what? In these blueprints, we'll just make a little hole there for people to shoot through. Why not? There you go.
Oh my god, amazing! I love that. Love that idea. What are we doing next week, Matt?
Do you know what? That's a really good question. Okay, so last week we spoke about potentially getting guests on. Now, this week we just haven't had time to ask, for starters. It's super busy at the moment with both of our work schedules. And we were going to say we were going to pitch as well movies. Now, instead of pitching, what we have done is that I have literally recycled the movie suggestions from the week previous. Okay, put that back into our lovely roulette wheel. Okay, and Forrest, I have suggested for either of us to suggest one extra movie to be added onto this reel. What is your suggestion, my friend?
My suggestion is before I announce my suggestion, just gonna bring it up so I can give the year and some other details. So my suggestion was the film Cube. Okay, it was released in 1997. It's a horror sci-fi, and it's about a group of strangers awakened to find themselves placed in a giant cube. Each one of them is gifted with a special skill, and they must work together to escape an endless maze of deadly traps. I want to do it because it's an amazing film. I really liked it. It's very different to what me and Matt have done. So it just be good. Like how we turn that into an hour podcast, I don't know, but that excites me. Thrills me.
Big time.
Should have put in Labyrinth now, but oh well, we'll stick with Cube.
I'm gonna change my suggestion, mate. Just because I've realised there's already been we already have a Disney movie, so I was going to suggest Frozen, but we've got Big Hero 6 on there. But I am going to stick to something Disney-like, but it's not kind of threaded through there. So I'm going to suggest the Disney movie Zombies. Okay, the first one. Now, that is an intrigued. I want you to Google Disney Zombies right now.
Disney Zombies.
Disney Zombies. The movie.
Oh, God. What the fuck is this? Oh, my Jesus Christ. 2018 film. It's reasonably new.
Yeah.
Dance Disney. Dance Zombies.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my fucking God. This is high school zombie Q. Cool.
It's like High School Musical meets kind of... a zombie kind of thing, a movie set in a high school. It's like zombies in high school, and it's a musical.
Fucking hell. Your mission is just to make my just watched section on my Disney Plus look as god awful as it could.
So I've watched this, okay, because my eldest was drawn to it.
Don't make up the kids' excuse. You saw zombies and thought, "Oh wow, Disney's branching out." I
mean, to be fair, there are some, and this is the thing, right? I watched it, and then I ended up watching it again because I quite like the songs.
Oh my God! Bite me, say that you'll bite me, bite me, and say that you'll bite me.
If we draw this movie, okay, I want to hear a karaoke version of one of these songs sung by you.
Amazing.
And we could do that together. We could do it together.
The listeners will not find it amazing. That will be, if anything is going to hard tune them out, it is that. They're going to be absolutely never going to.
So right. I'm going to punt in. So I'm just going to. Oh, hang on. Disney zombies. Yeah, Disney zombies. Okay, so. So I'm just going to go through the list again. All right. Obviously we've done Star Wars, so that's now off the list. But we still have Big Hero 6. We have Inception. We have The Rocketeer. We have Suicide Squad. We have What We Do in the Shadows. We have The Matrix. We have Nick Fury. With the David Hasselhoff extravaganza. We have The Dark Knight. We have The Cube. We have Twilight. And then we have Disney zombies. All right.
This is honestly. I think now all of the films in it are so far away from what we normally do.
They're so far away.
That's what excites me. Here we go. We've done Star Wars. We've done the film that literally could have been something we did anyway. So let's.
I'm so excited. I'm brimming with anticipation right now, my friend. Forrest.
Yeah.
Can you do me an absolute solid? And I want you to do your longest, or deep breath, and your longest sustained Chewie impression while I spin this wheel. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go. Okay, you can stop. For some reason, it's...
You could have stopped 10 minutes ago.
You literally could have. For some reason, it's not spinning. Okay, 2 seconds. Why is it not spinning? Spin, you bastard. Come on. It was spinning.
Well, have you just got to wait for an animation before it will tell you what choice it's made?
You press a button and it spins. Oh, no, because I'm going to have to... Oh.
Have you got to already put them all in?
Oh, I forgot. I've got to put them back in.
Did you leave it inactive for too long? Is that what you've done?
Yeah, that's exactly what's happened.
Oh,
for fuck's sake. Okay, Forrest. All right. Seeing as the first time failed, all right, let's, instead of doing a Chewie impression, give me just a bog standard drum roll, my friend. Okay, and I'm going to press spin. It's such a loud drum roll. Okay, it's spinning. Here we go. Oh my god. Yes. Absolutely yes.
Here we go.
It's neither of our suggestions, but it is an absolute banger of a movie. Again, I'm so excited to do. It is What We Do in the Shadows, the movie.
Here we go.
It's got me pumped.
What We Do in the Shadows.
Have you seen it?
The
movie one.
Yeah, this is what I've got to figure out because I've seen.
There's a wonderful TV series that's come out fairly recently with Matt Berry.
I don't think I have.
So, What We Do in the Shadows is a Taika Waititi movie. Came out a fair few years ago now. It is a wonderful, brilliant, brilliantly crafted comedic movie, dark gothic comedic movie, which I cannot wait to watch again. I've watched it a few times, but I can't wait to watch it again. That's great.
Wow. And I've never seen it, so buckle up for a new review of a new film for me. This is exciting.
Get excited, people. If you haven't listened, and as well, dear listeners, if you haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, the movie, do make sure you get to watch it before we get to talk about it next week. Because again, you can be part of this conversation as well. So what you can do, obviously, if you are not following us on any social media streams, do make sure you follow us on Instagram. Is it Don't Be a Hero Podcast or is it DBA? Is it the abbreviated version?
On Instagram, it's Don't Be a Hero Podcast. On Twitter, it's DBAH Podcast. Or if you'd like to do it the traditional way, do send us an email at don'tbeaheropodcast@gmail.com.
There you go. So do make sure you get on top of what you do in the shadow, what we do in the shadows, and we will watch that together. Maybe we could do that in person. Maybe we can do it together, mate.
Ooh.
Maybe we can find some time to sort of sit down together and talk about it.
Together forever. You know what? Keep singing and we'll sing out. This is how we're going to finish.
Okay.
I'm so in love with you. I'm in love with you.
Yeah.
No matter I have to do.
Yeah.
It's alright with me.
Yeah.